the four major oil companies, Western, of course, American, British, and actually French as well, that are back in Iraq. Don't call it a comeback. Guess who's back? ExxonMobil's back. And it's really interesting. First, what do I mean by they're back? Saddam Hussein, 36 years ago, took these same exact four companies. Exxon and Mobil had not merged at that point, but took these companies and threw them out of Iraq. In fact, the former CEO of Exxon had said, we used to own that place, basically. Okay, I'll give you an exact quote in a second. In fact, I'll give it to you right now. He said, there's an enormous amount of oil in Iraq. You don't say, huh? I didn't know that. Former chief executive of Exxon, Lee Raymond, told Newsweek this last fall, admitting it and saying the history behind it. He said, we were part of the consortium, the four companies that were there when Saddam Hussein threw us out. And we basically had the whole country. Okay? Well, they now have the whole country again. Mission accomplished. Gee, I wonder if this war was about the oil. I wonder. No, probably not. Probably not. Hey, you know what, press? Don't even ask the question. Mainstream media, mass media, whatever you want to call it. God forbid you should do a magazine cover that says, was it about the oil? That you should run that headline. They should analyze it in print or on TV. I would get a good belly laugh out of that. Like TV is going to actually ask tough questions of government officials. Picture Wolf Blitzer asking that question? Please, right? Come on, man. You know, I don't know if you know this. The whole world thinks it was about the oil. You know who else thinks that? All of the Iraqi people. When you ask the Iraqis, why do you think America came into Iraq? They're like, the oil. Of course it was about the oil. Now the thing is, am I absolutely convinced that that was the only factor in our decision to invade Iraq? No, I'm not. I believe there was a confluence of events, and there were a number of different factors and people that had different agendas. Some was related to oil, some was related to boots on the ground in the Middle East, some was related to Israel. There were a lot of different things that went into it. And did George Bush, just to be able to sleep at night, trick himself into thinking this really was about freedom? Maybe he even convinced himself of that, right? But might it occur to some journalists, if there were any journalists left in the United States of America, to ask government officials, hey, was it about the oil? And now, by the way, how did these four companies get those contracts to have the oil in Iraq? They don't have it. They, of course, are going to have some part of it for helping the Iraqis extract it from the ground. Get a load of this. No bid contracts. Over 40 of the largest oil companies in the world wanted to bid on these contracts. It's not like there weren't other people interested. Lukoil from Russia, companies from China, India, huge oil companies that could have done the job just as well. But you know what? It turns out that American oil companies had been there for a couple of years helping the oil ministry of Iraq without charge, out of the goodness of their heart. And so they wound up being the ones that got the contracts. Who could have figured? I didn't see that coming. And when you ask ExxonMobil, they say, oh, no. Us? Profit from this? Well, I suppose we will. I suppose there's a lot of oil in Iraq. And people think there's a lot of potential there as well, because they're right now producing 2.5 billion gallons, but we think we can get them up to 6 billion. But no, this is about helping the Iraqi people. Oh, is it? Oh, God, it's a good thing we have some good Samaritans at ExxonMobil in this country who are looking to help the people of Iraq. Come on! How could the media be this credulous? How could they sit there and take this and not write any stories about, hey, maybe this entire invasion and all of these people dying, over 4,000 Americans dying, let alone hundreds of thousands of Iraqis, let alone 40,000 Americans wounded and maimed, and maybe it was about the oil. And they never even said. The whole point of the press was supposed to question the government, to be a watchdog of the government, not to be a lapdog of the government. No, all they do is they sit there and print propaganda. They view the government as the most credible source they have, when in fact they should treat it as the most skeptical source they have. The government said it, so I don't know what their real aims are. it should be the first thing through the mind of a reporter. These days in America, it's the last thing through the mind of a reporter. Reporter's like, look, this is legitimate. This is credible. It was given to me by the Bush administration. I mean, we don't even do journalism in this country anymore. But overall, 90% of the media, a horrific job, a terrible job. They talk about lessons learned. What lesson did you learn from the lead up to the Iraq War? So, oh no, we found out it wasn't about the weapons of mass destruction, and it wasn't about links to Al-Qaeda. Really? So then what the hell was it about? Maybe the oil? No, shh. Don't ask the question. Don't ask. Don't ask, don't tell. So now, mission accomplished, ExxonMobil and the rest of them are back in Iraq, sitting on top of the oil, and they got it through no-bid contracts. The press in America, the mass media, is fundamentally broken.